Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And again, thank you for all your support over on Patreon. Again, every video goes up over there as well. And crazy times we are in. Crazy times. There's lots of coincidences out there.
There's lots and lots and lots, yes.
Lots of coincidences. By the way, I do not believe in coincidences.
Me either.
Neither of us believe in coincidences. We want to get that out there. But we have so many things going on. Of course, we've been talking about the 3 American solar eclipses, commencing with August 21st, 2017. Then we had, time is flying, is it not? October 14th, 2023. Was this one right here. Seems like that was just like a week ago. It's just crazy. And then the big one, the final one, April 8th, 2024, which goes this way. And yes, there's an X over the New Madrid. And as I pointed out before, as far as I just see quakes all over this, and I see war all over this. And I see a lot of other things too. The breaking up of the U.S. into multiple parts. I suppose if we look at it, right, you could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And A is, anarchy. A is Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew as well as the English alphabet. There's so many things to see here, but we have spoken. And Cindy had viewed and gotten the vision that the U.S. would be broken up into 5 parts. And as I'm looking at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really just hitting me 5. There you go. It's another coincidence that we don't believe in.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, absolutely. So April 8th, 2024 is 67 days away from as I make this video. 67 days. And, it's here. Oh boy. And again, we're talking about coincidences. This is the total solar eclipse. More people are going to be able to see this one than the previous one, according to the numbers in an article I was just reading from MSN. This one right here. Oh, look at that. Piedras Negras. Well, as far as the U.S. goes, you're going to be right over here, going to be the first ones to see this eclipse as it rolls on through, again, going through the New Madrid area and then going and leaving Maine and out over the Atlantic. As you look at Piedras Negras, which is in Mexico, you might wonder, because, again, this is the very center point going through this area. This will be a total eclipse. You might wonder what's across from the border there. It happens to be Eagle Pass. Oh, another coincidence that we don't believe in.
Well, I don't see how you could really make it up. Not this one.
Yeah, is it just some strange, crazy coincidence that the center point of the whole legal immigrant situation that's been centered totally on Eagle Pass, Texas, happens to be right smack dab in the middle of the total solar eclipse that is 67 days away, coming our way, April.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but does it seem like they're doing some weird planetary voodoo again? I don't know. Maybe it's probably just me, though.
What do you guys make of that? And I really look forward to your opinions. What do you make of this? Do you think all this is just one big coincidence? Do you think it's the power of the stars? Do you think that the control system waits for these things to happen and then orchestrates and utilizes certain places where the energies of the stars are going to help them achieve their objectives? Do you think that the control system has the ability to manipulate eclipses? Again, what is your opinion? Inquiring minds need to know. Tell us your opinion. So total solar eclipses occur in the same place roughly every 375 years. The last time the U.S. saw the event, like one we're going to get in this April, was again August 21st, 2017. 215 million people estimated to have seen the event, although only 12 million were in the path of totality. This next one, after the April 8th one isn't going to happen until 2044, and it's going to be visible from Montana and North Dakota. So it's going to be a while after this one. The other thing that we have with this eclipse, again, coincidence? What do you think? Is a comet coming from the constellation of Draco. Draco, the dragon. And again, the Draco, the draconian power structure, it's in place on the planet. Just think about that. Just think about the word draconian. If you look up Wikipedia, it's going to tell you it's going to be about a Roman lawmaker. No, it's not. Again, Wikipedia is ultimately a alphabet soup psyop, so it's a controller's psyop to control the narrative. This is coming from the constellation of Draco, heading our way, 12P Ponds Brooks, and it should be visible during the eclipse. It's on its way to us. It's had a volcanic ride so far. Volcanic devil comet erupts with biggest blast yet. As it races towards Earth, you cannot make this stuff up. And then you have all the quatrains, because we were talking about Nostradamus' quatrains, that refer to fire in the sky, comets, etc. There's a ton of them. There is a ton of them. In fact, it seems that so much of the big war and the hardest times that the Earth is going to face come at a time of a visible comet. And this is also, obviously, in many cultures, comets are harbingers of death and destruction and chaos. They've always been recognized as that. And in fact, many comets have appeared, and then there's been plagues, pestilence, etc. Well, if a comet isn't a snowy ball of ice, but is actually an extraterrestrial ship, just putting it out there, then you might understand why, if they are, spreading some pestilence, etc., etc., etc. They're timing it to get oohs and ahs from the humans that don't know any better and just say, it must be an act of God, it must be an act of the gods, depending on what time we're in. One of the most famous ones is this one, Century 2, verse 62. Mavis will soon die. And it's decoding Mavis. Then will come a terrible destruction of people and animals. Sudden vengeance will be seen. 100 hands, thirst, famine, when the comet will pass. And there's many others about this as well. You have the bearded star. 3 great princes will become enemies. Struck from the sky, peaceful earth quaking, Po, Tiber overflowing, serpent placed upon the shore. Then the great star will burn for 7 days. Cloud will cause 2 suns to appear. The large mastiff will howl at night when the great pontiff changes his residence. So that is one of the things that is prophesied to happen to multiple sources. Destruction of Rome. Literally causing the moving of the Vatican, moving of what's left of the Catholic Church to a different location during a time of great war. So everything that we see, honestly, maybe it's just in my mind, please do share your opinions. Everything is pointing towards this April period as being just so key, because it just fits on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm. It does. That's the thing. It's like when you look at alignment, you look at different things to see what is lining up when. And that's what we keep seeing. There's several arrows pointing toward right around this April time period. Now, our planetary events exact I haven't seen them be exact, but when we're looking at this eclipse, I have felt the effects of an eclipse for myself, and it was dramatic for me. It was absolutely insane. Felt like 1,000 spirits walking right through my body. I had goosebumps. I was a changed person after that event. So I know that these eclipses definitely make changes, and we also have the comet on top of it, and I really feel that those things are very significant. So I mean, what do we do right now? It's like, faced with so many things. I mean, there's so much stuff going on, and we keep saying it, and we'll continue to say it. Get your house ready, get yourself ready, have backups to your backups, take care of yourself, reach in and find that spiritual version of you that's just waiting to come up, because all of these things are going to help you. It'll help you tremendously. I cannot overstate that enough. I really hope people go inside, go within, and allow that information to take you places, allow that information to mold you, allow that information to get you curious about more things in this world. There's so much more out there besides like our work, our 9-to-5 job, and that's what they've made it all about is, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. And you just barely have enough time to eat and go to the shower and do these things. That's not what life is about. Life is about experiences. So I just think now with everything we have going on, it's a really good time to go within.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking at this one because there's so many verses talking about fire from the sky. And of course, to somebody looking way back in 1560 or 1555, how would you describe missiles, coming down and boom? You might describe them as fire from the sky. The city is almost destroyed by fire from the sky. The Deucalion flood threatens again. Sardinia, which is an island off the Italian coast, is vexed by the Punic fleet. And Punic Wars, that's what we're talking about, is present-day Libya. Or really, it's a reference to what used to be Carthage. And there's actually multiple references that he makes talking about a Libyan fleet as well, and also talking about a fleet, again, in the Mediterranean. And obviously we've been looking at the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, and everything is set up so perfectly for all of this to literally manifest. And again, I think the only way we could possibly avert it is by having a major awakening in the actual militaries. I think we could share something anonymously with you guys, because we have a family member that was just sharing with us how one of the focuses in our military, and it'll be globally too, is the shift away from the wars of the past. And it was stated by somebody that is, part of perhaps preparatory movements and training, etc., for what's coming. As far as, there's going to be drafts. There is going to be drafts. That's obvious, and that is coming. And you might say, that's hilarious because so many of the kids today, are not in shape to fight, are couch potatoes, et cetera, et cetera. They won't be able to. Again, they've relaxed all the different things that they've had as far as your physical fitness levels that you must be at, your educational standards you must be at. All this stuff has been relaxed because the war of the future is not going to be fought that way. You can see it now. It's going to be fought with drones. It's going to be fought with robots. It's going to be fought, with equipment that we can't even understand at this point in time. That's what they're going to be rolling out. If you can play a video game, if you could play Call of Duty, you can be a soldier in the army military of tomorrow. Just realize that, because you're not going to be out in the battlefield. No, you're going to be somewhere in a bunker, and you're going to be operating a drone. You're going to be operating some sort of, robotic, computerized mechanism of death. And you might be targeting live humans running for cover as you're shooting them like they're in a video game. This is what they've been preparing for the whole time. This is what they've been conditioning society for the whole time with the video games, because that's the next level of this.
Well, the desensitizing, when you're on a video game and you're beating somebody up, it's not a thing. It's not necessarily a human. And, they for many, many, many years, our kids have been on different tablets, different computers, playing these video games. So it's already kind of ingrained into the generation after generation after generation. And it really feels like the next move is to, get a bunch of our children that have been raised in this generation and get them really, really good on these so-called games. But it's not really games, it's real life.
So here you have a video appears to show migrants tucked away in a hidden room under military guard at a major U.S. airport. This was in Atlanta, I believe. Again, Cindy's seen the camps that they're going to be holding American citizens in. And they're going to be armed by Chinese, Russian, and American, and other nationalities as well. This is part of the big, expose that's going to be going on. Yeah, we understand there's a component that if you look at it in a nationalistic light, there is a component of our own government that has, definitely sold us out. The reality is, again, humanity's been sold out by people that will do anything to, again, better themselves. And they've sold us out. And they've bribed other people. I'll have all the links. The links are always posted down below the video, so you guys can watch for yourself. But yeah, again, that's what we have, to be a top-level politician. Or if you're even a top-level entertainer, you're somebody that has been bought and paid for by the system. And it might be, fame, or it might be fortune, or it might just wanting to be keeping your family safe with what's coming, if you do know what's coming. And this is Oklahoma, by the way. Significant gas pipeline has exploded, releasing massive flames hundreds of feet into the sky. Elmwood, Oklahoma. It can be seen from over 30 miles away. Cause unclear. Investigation underway. How many times have we heard that with different explosions, fires? We reported on a food production facility in Texas, but there was more than one. This is a Nestcam video showing the explosion as it happened off in the distance here. When the pipeline explosion occurred. Again, there's tens of millions of people in the country. It could be anybody that triggered it. And it could also be Earth movement too. I wouldn't rule that out because it feels like we're heading into different times with that. But we are absolutely at war. And it really has to be realized by humanity that, we got to look at the bigger picture. There's a war against humanity in general. It's not necessarily just the BRICS nations against NATO, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's humanity. These are all the food processing plants around the world, by the way, that have had explosions, fires, been shut down. We know this. They're shutting down the farming. They've even told us this. Control the food. You control everybody. That's what they're doing. It's pretty obvious. We know who's doing it too. At least we understand the middle management level. And then we have reports that a commercial shipping vessel has been hit by a missile off the coast of Yemen. Again, that's an everyday occurrence at this point in time. reports that the USS Gravely had to use its Phalanx CIWS against a Houthi cruise missile. And there was reports again that U.S. ships have been hit at times where, there's been no confirmation, and there's actually been statements coming out from the U.S. side that never happened. And there's, again, acknowledgement that we lost 3 troops over there on the Jordanian, Syrian, Iraqi border. But then there's others out there that are saying, no, it's many, many times that, like 80 or more. This is a British recruitment video. And what do we see? We see taking time out to go ahead and do his prayers. And, this is British recruitment video again. It's so wild to see how everything is being laid out there. Is it not keeping the faith? And meanwhile, Hungary is standing with the farmers. All the countries, the number of countries, I should say, is growing rapidly as, the protests are growing rapidly because, it's coming. And by the way, in Nostradamus's prophecies, he speaks about an incredible famine that's coming, and it's so bad that literally, people are fighting over roots and just anything to eat, that the famine is that bad. So again, this has been planned far longer than most people realize, and I think it's been planned before 1871.
Mm-hmm. It's been going on for a very long time. And then there's cycles too. We were talking about this earlier today, how, it may only be a matter of a few hundred years when they change these cycles, and they change the human body, and they change human behavior, and they have time to set things up. They have time to put plans into place. They have time, and they have the understanding too, because they know how a lot of humans are going to react. And the most predictable reaction with human beings is fear. If they can put them in a state of fear, well, then they can really, really control them. And a lot of our belief systems really are based out of fear. If you don't believe this, you're going to burn in hell. If you don't believe that, you're a really bad person is what goes on. And it's a lot of finger pointing, and it's a lot of you're doing the wrong thing. And a lot of it's just us policing each other. So we can't do that. We need to help lift each other up wherever we possibly can. And also personal responsibility, making sure that you are as clean as you can be when it comes to the food and things that you put in your body, because we are becoming more and more sensitive. And as that sensitivity increases, our bodies are going to have less tolerance for external influences. I'll just put it that way. So we need to be grounded and centered wherever we're at, and be able to find a way to get grounded and centered too, because times are really turby right now.
Yeah, and the reality is, as we've said, Nostradamus was one of them. And so, did he have to even have amazing gifts? Not really. All he had to do was know the plan. And if it is a cycle that happens every, that's the tricky part to figure out. Well, what are these cycles? Is it every 400 years? It's not 12,000. It's much more. It's much more often than that. When you look at the world population, let's say let's go beginning of time. All right, we'll do that one, or see when they bring it up. When you look at world population, it just does not simply compute. Like if you take this right here, this is showing we hit 1 billion people in 1804. 1804. If we take literally the outcome of the Kurukshetra war, which happened, if you asked most Hindu scholars of the Mahabharata, they're going to date it to 3104 BC. So 5,000 years ago. In that it clearly states 1.2 plus billion people died in this war. 1.2 billion people died in this war 5,000 years ago. We had 1 billion people, they say, in 1804. 1927, 2 billion, and then it starts to go exponential. 3 billion 1960, 4 billion 1974, 5 billion 1987, 6 billion 1999, 7 billion 2012, 8 billion 2024. Now this is showing it going to 9 billion in 2048 and then tapering off, but the reality is the tapering off has already happened. And in fact, I don't think we're ever going to hit 9 billion, not for a very, very, very long time, more than likely, because, again, Homo sapiens is having problems reproducing. Sperm counts, not good, dropping like a rock. Infertility, increasing drastically. Life expectancy, decreasing. And then obviously right in front of us, a global war and looming famine is going to be a reality that sets in from the war and from other things that are occurring right now. So again, these numbers don't make any sense. They don't make any sense. And when we look into Tartaria and the past civilizations that the world has had, you gotta wonder. There's so many things. Jimmy Corsetti was talking again today on a tweet about a map from 1500 and change, around the time of Nostradamus, and it shows Africa, northern Africa, green. Hello, how quickly have some of the desertifications on the planet happened? Maybe way quicker than we know. By the way, there's a really huge swarm going on in Hawaii at the moment, 273 quakes over here. There was also an interesting swarm that was going on over in the Caribbean, off the northeast coast of Puerto Rico. That seems to be tapering off a little bit, as you see this area right here. Yeah, the Great Quakes do feel like they are very, very near, as well as just historic times.
Mm-hmm. It is. You want to do something like be this horse. You want to go out and play ball. You want to enjoy the water. You want to enjoy the elements. And just understand that this is what we came here to do. Seed that in your consciousness. I think too many are worried about work naturally because we have to work to make money to pay the bills, but we don't take enough time to appreciate the natural forces that are all around us.
Well, how much does this... I've seen wild horses, and there's wild horses off the coast of North Carolina in the Outer Banks. How much does the horse pay for his property taxes? How much does he pay for, his water bill? Is he going to be part of, the carbon-based system too? It's just ridiculous because we can't see the fact that the system that we have is totally contrived and is the problem. It's the only problem on the planet, really. Everything else we could overcome. It's the system itself, and the system wants to put out there like, oh, we're going to do this great thing. We're going to do that great thing. No. The system is all about selling us on what it does and then disguising and hiding from us what it's really doing.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they do, and they're very, very good at it.
As always, guys, stay prepared out there. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.